And in reality, what he's telling us is he needs a favor all the time. I watched an interview on CBS with this man. He's asking Congress, political parties, to do something about the fentanyl issue that we have in the US today. He was in prison for drugs, hardcore drugs. He straight up tells these politicians that he's not a Democrat nor a Republican, and that he has lost his privilege for life to ever be able to vote. Please check out his story on CBS News, because he says, I was the problem, now I would like to be a solution to the problem. This song brings out the reason that I'm a Christian today and how it fits into my life. Here are some highlights of how I've come to be a member of this church. All my life, I have prayed, or what I thought was a prayer. I was brought up in a home that was agnostic. A higher power was there. We were just never sure who or what that power was. My dad held the belief that there was a higher power, but he just did not know what to believe. My mother did believe in a higher power, but it just was whichever way the wind was blowing as to which power she believed in. I tell folks that I had to grow up, have children, be divorced, and then live my teenage years. I became a mother at 18, divorced at 18, and spent 3 years more or less in a self-centered depression. This is what happens when you're young and dumb. You think you can change the love of your life. Wrong. Not only once, but twice. Through all this, I prayed. I prayed for a good man, money to get me through paycheck to paycheck, and the protection of my child or children. Obviously, God seen something in me that I did not see in myself. He kept providing, and I am certain laughing at this child of his. If the conversation were anything like my earthly father would have had with me, it would go something like this. Oh, child, why did you not listen the first time around? There are times you make me so proud I could bust the buttons off my shirt. I'll leave the rest for you to finish. For whatever reason, I am still a child of God. Call it blind faith. I truly believe that this is what I had all these years. We only went to church when it was mandatory, and the year that I had to go to a Catholic school, but that's a whole nother story. I look around today and I listen to the music of today. Patsy Cline, Kitty Wells, Kate Smith, Berlin Husky, Jim Reeves, Dan and Shay, Clay Walker, and many other musicians have all recorded Christian songs. Maybe this is their way of praying. Is there a wrong way to pray? I have no idea what my parents really believed in because they would never talk of prayer. I used to think that they were not raised in a religious family. Maybe they were mad at God because they lost a daughter at a very young age and never were able to get through that grief. Maybe they believed in silence. I pray when I'm driving to work and I ask for grace. I pray that I'm not sounding like a fool to all of you today, and that God gave me the grace and the ability to stand up here and say what I feel. I never belonged to a church before CUMC. I never had a baptismal birthday until CUMC, as Greg spoke of in one of his sermons. I remember Roger Robinson, a retired Methodist minister, talk about the Psalms and how we should sing them. We did, and I was intrigued. Many years ago, God did answer my prayer. I have a wonderful husband, good children, and a fantastic church family. And I've learned that God answers prayer, not on my timeline, but on his. Garth Brooks has a song out called Unanswered Prayers. Yes, it's a typical country western song about men and women, first loves, and what we have now. This song also includes the unanswered prayer. No matter what your prayer may be, it will be answered, and most likely not in the way you or I want it. And most likely not in the time that you or I want it. There's a gentleman here in town, pardon me. I was raised in a home, in case y'all haven't realized, that was mainly country music and honky-tonk music. There's a gentleman here in town that has heard my singing from many years ago. And he said my style of music was honky-tonk. I look back and I have to agree. I believe there's no wrong way to pray, and I must give credit to many in this congregation for teaching me this. Matthew 6, 5 through 8. And whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and on the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But whenever you do pray, go into your room and shut your door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees you in secret will reward you. When you are praying, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. And your Father knows what you've already done. Let us approach God's throne with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find the grace to help us in our time of need. That comes from Hebrews 4:16. Thank you for allowing me to give my sermon or my testimony on this day. And gentlemen, I'm sorry you didn't get to retreat this weekend. But maybe it's one of those unanswered prayers. I know God will hear you, and I know that he hears me. God bless. Let us go forth in this time of enlightenment and plan to pray for grace and guidance. Thank you. Please open your hymnals to 413.